to defend himself.
How does Evander feel? Is he aware of some of the criticism that's out there about him fighting guys who are like a little bit older? Certainly you're in a position, you're in the driver's seat. You take on the guys who are in the right position, the big money fights. This is one of those. Is he aware of the criticism? How does he feel about that?
Sure. I mean, you know, it hurts you sometimes because you don't get the respect as a bona fide, undisputed champion of the world, undefeated. But what can you do? You know, I mean, this is the public out there. But I think the public really knows that he's a good guy and that he gives his all in the ring. I think after this here fight with Larry Holmes, who certainly earned it because he beat the #1 guy among the young fighters, and that was Ray Mercer, and I think he earned that fight against Holyfield. I think after this here fight, they're going to gain that respect. And after that's over, we want only one guy, Riddick Bowe. We want to knock out Riddick Bowe. And I'm saying, if he's supposed to be the leading contender, we're going to see what a leading contender he is.
Well, we had Rock Newman up here earlier, and he certainly said he'd love to have you. So it doesn't sound like there's anything standing in the way.
Just wait until we get over this here Holyfield and Holmes fight, and I'd be glad to sit down with Rock Newman, and let's get it on.
All right. Well, I love that kind of talk. Thank you, Lou Duva. Let's get it on. Riddick Bowe, Evander Holyfield, assuming he gets past Larry Holmes, and of course,
he will. Okay. He will.
Lou Duva, trainer for Evander Holyfield. Thank you for that update. That's coming up on June 19th here on TVKL. The goal of so many heavyweights, of course, is to be called the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, and certainly a couple of guys tonight are going to hope that they can get to that level. On the line, though, is the WBO version of the heavyweight championship, and it's Michael Moorer and Smokin' Bert Cooper. They come into the action tonight. Both of them come in saying that they want to just basically prove to everyone that what they've done so far in the ring is certainly not a fluke. Michael Moorer, Bert Cooper. Michael Moorer comes in as a former light heavyweight champion of the WBO, ready to move up and continue that reign in the heavyweight ranks.
And Holyfield wobbles in the corner. The champion in trouble. Cooper bangs away. You've got high drama in Atlanta. Holyfield in serious trouble.
Last November, Smokin' Bert Cooper was a punch away from snatching the biggest prize in boxing. He was an 11th hour challenger given 3 days to prepare for the greatest fight in his life. The 25-1 underdog wasn't supposed to have a chance against Evander Holyfield, yet he shocked the world and almost had his impossible dream come true.
Everyone remembers him from fighting Evander. Everyone's trying to look at Bert Cooper as the man to get by, and I don't think so. I'm not going to look past his fight because Bert is a tough guy and he's going to be out there to get me.
I'm not playing no more, you know what I'm saying? I'm just not playing. I'm just going for blood.
Cooper surged on the scene in 1984. Pummeling victories convinced many he was a threat to Mike Tyson's crown. But great potential was snuffed out by cocaine addiction.
I didn't know which way to go. And stuff, manager, he wasn't there, and he didn't care about me, you know. And, it's like I was just stuck, you know. I couldn't go nowhere.
Cooper crashed to the bottom in his test with George Foreman. He was trashed whatever promise he had left with 3 sleepless nights of wild partying before the nationally televised bout. Cooper lamely quit on the stool. His purse stripped after testing positive for coke, hurtling into oblivion. One man still believed in him.
The only time that Bert ever quit at anything in his life was when those drugs and that bad influence was a part of his life.
I said, hold up, Bert. You got to wake up. This ain't you, Coop. This ain't you. This ain't you. Got back on the right track. Right track, you know. I fought my way through.
Moorer's climb to heavyweight recognition was also challenged with many roadblocks. Like Cooper, most of them were outside the ring. One assault charge is still pending in his Pennsylvania hometown, and the last few months, poison spread between Moorer and his longtime trainer Emanuel Stewart. They've apparently worked out their differences, but in the ring, they found Mike the Giant White a threat to his KO record.
When you come in the ring, you look at this guy, you say, wow, I mean, you can't even hardly, if he would just stand there and say, hit me, I mean, you'd have to almost get a ladder to climb up just to do that. How are you going to knock him out?
And I said, well, this is a big guy, and he's trying to use his weight size advantage over me. And I said, well, I'm just going to have to box. And I think I did damn good. I'm not worried about what other people say about, well, I went 10 rounds, and I went 10 rounds in my last 2 fights. That don't mean anything.
The Giant squashed his perfect KO record, the one stat that separated him from the other top contenders. Still undefeated, his last fight against Everett Martin put him to the mat for the first time as a pro.
He could have been the best thing that could have happened at this time, because I think it's going to have him pumped up to the point where his immediate fight following that performance would probably be one of his best, and I'm hoping that happens.
What stands in the way is a fired-up, rejuvenated Cooper. No one is calling this Philadelphia slugger a quitter anymore. Tonight's shot for the WBO title can give final direction to her soaring up and down career.
It is the most important fight. Everything else is yesterday, used to be, and once upon a time. And the only thing that matters is Michael Moore.
His toughest challenge is going to be the upcoming fight with Bert Cooper. Not just a challenge as a fight, but I think about life. This will be the fight where he will prove or disprove that he's for real.
Bert is mentally prepared and strong and in condition. And when he's that way, no heavyweight, nobody can beat him in the world.
Despite Cooper's last 6 aggressive no-quit performances, Moore is not convinced the recovering challenger has what it takes to be world champion. The Croc superstar plans to use more than his KO power to get by the pit bull brawler.
All depends on who's behind the punch and what type of guy who has a bigger heart. And I think I have a tremendous heart. And I think I want it more.
When the bell rings, there's Michael. There goes Michael. You know, I got bills to pay. You know, he can't stand in the way. He can't stand in the way. It's a do or die situation for me.
Tonight is the fight of their lives. Cooper needs the victory to bury his shattered past. Moore craves this win to blow away the sea of skeptics. Both boxers are battling for the WBO crown and the top of their division.
It's going to be a do or die for both of us, and for myself, I want to live a different life. So it means a whole bunch to me. It means this is my life right here.
Let me go for it. Let me go all out. Do what I got to do.
And we are back live at Atlantic City's Trump Taj Mahal, where it's time for the main event. The WBO Heavyweight Championship of the World, Michael Moore against smoking Bert Cooper. And for the action at ringside, let's go now to Lynn Bert.
Thank you, Cambrell Marshall, and I enjoyed listening to what Lou Duva had to say, how he wants Evander Holyfield, and they're going to get Riddick Bowe, and they're going to knock him out. Okay, Riddick Bowe, you heard what Lou had to say.
You heard what he said he wants. Well, he's never too old for his wants to hurt him. I know he would love to see that happen, but unfortunately, it shall never take place.
What is the scenario? A lot of talk, perhaps, that you and Evander Holyfield, should you both win your next fight, that's the next big fight.
Yes, I think that we will hook up in October or November sometime, and I shall emerge as the new heavyweight champion of the world.
Okay. What do you make of Moore Cooper coming up here for the WBO championship?
Well, as always with heavyweights, I think it depends on who's determined, who's in better shape than the other, and Michael Moore has a big punch, so we'll see how Cooper can take that.
So you lean towards Moore?
A little bit more, because Cooper weighed in at 225 pounds,
up,
and that's not good for his height.
All right, you're going to be our guest judge for this one, so good luck.
My pleasure.
I think you scored the Stevens thing the way I did. You had Stevens a little bit ahead, huh?
Pretty much.
All right, well, but the real judges gave it to Bramble. Okay, thank you, Riddick. I'm joined, of course, by Joe Goosen. Joe, the issue of being in shape. There were a lot of observers who watched Bert Cooper and said, gee, they questioned if he was in tremendous shape or not.
Well, it's hard to think with the opportunity and the money that lays ahead of him that he would not be in tip-top shape for this. They said he went away to camp to Florida for 6 weeks, a few different training camps, but he did come in at 4 or 5 pounds heavier than he has in his last 7 or 8 or 9 fights. So that may be a telltale sign.
All right, you know, people always love in boxing to look for negatives. Critics will point to Michael Moore. He did not look terrific against Bigfoot Martin.
Well, it's hard to look good against guys that are normally can take survivors and take you down the road like Bigfoot did with George Foreman. He's done with almost everyone he's fought. And against Mike White, that was another example of Michael Moore not looking too good. But Mike White is 7 feet tall. It's hard to look good against anybody that awkward and tall. But I think against Bert Cooper tonight, the style of Cooper suits Michael Moore to a T. An inside fight where he can use his short counter punches and tremendously strong uppercuts on the inside with Bert Cooper. It's going to be a tough brawl, and however long it lasts.
All right, let's get specific. Let's get right to Goosen's Corner. Let's start with smoking Bert Cooper.
All right, great. Well, Bert Cooper, like we said, he's been in training camp, and he had more than a week to prepare for this fight, as in the case with Evander Holyfield. But he's got to get inside on Michael Moore. Michael Moore is 6'2". He's got to avoid those uppercuts, because that is exactly the punches that he took against Evander Holyfield that spelled doom for him. And on the inside, he must answer all the punches back. Don't get caught where the referee can stop the fight because you aren't punching back.
And here he comes, the number 2 WBO heavyweight contender. They are fighting for the vacant crown because Ray Mercer yielded his belt to fight Larry Holmes. And Cooper from Philadelphia, now living in Salem, Virginia, he'll have a big following here. You know, he's lost to George Foreman. Of course, as Cambrell Marshall was talking about earlier, there were some drug problems. Lost to our compatriot here, Riddick Bowe. Lost to Mercer, but acquitted himself well against Ray, even though he lost. There's the record, 27-8, 24 knockouts. But of course, against Evander Holyfield, he nearly pulled the biggest upset this side of Buster Douglas. Came close that night in Atlanta, last November the 23rd. But it was finally stopped by Mills Lane in the 7th round, although Cooper thought it was stopped a bit early. Cooper confident and talkative, and getting the second chance of his career. And now let's check out Goosen's Corner for the number 1 contender, Michael Moore.
Michael Moore, definitely one of the top 3 or 4 heavyweights in all the sanctioning bodies. He's got to box early, I believe. He's got to use a little bit of his reach and height advantage, try to let Cooper shoot off some steam. Counter the wide shots. Michael Moore is a beautiful, sharp, short puncher. He's got to counter all the wide shots off of Cooper, and then pressure in the late rounds if it goes that far, and try to knock him out.
And the purposeful number 1 WBO heavyweight contender, Michael Moore, head down, making his way through Taj Mahal Mark Edis Arena towards the ring. 24 years old, born in Brooklyn, raised in Monessen, Pennsylvania. That's where he's facing that assault charge against the policeman. The trial will be held next July, but for now, the business at hand, Michael Moore for the WBO Heavyweight Championship. His spotless 28-0 record, 26 by knockout, and he's the master of the short fights. Of his 28 encounters, 21 have gone 4 rounds or less. He, as you see, the former WBO light heavyweight champ. He defended it successfully 9 times. 6-0 now as a heavyweight. And keep in mind, he's a southpaw. But Bert Cooper fought Joe Hipp, another southpaw, in our last TVKO fight where we saw Cooper. Our tail of the tape tonight, Cooper 2 years older, 3.5 inches shorter, 7.5 pounds heavier. A lot of talk about the shape that Cooper's in, and Moore with the 5-inch reach advantage. And let's check out some CompuBox statistics going into this one.
All right, this is a 3-fight average for Moore and Cooper, of course. This is punches per round, 52 to 41. And you see the big edge in punches landed and thrown here for Moore with a tremendous connect percentage. If he lands 62% of his punches against Bert Cooper, this could be a short fight.
And the jabs per round, this is a 3-fight average.
All right,
with
again.
Moore throwing and landing. A look at Cooper, just 2.
That's right.
Per
Well, he's the type of guy who bobs and weaves his way into a man. He's not a guy that uses a big jab, but looping hard punches. And you can see why. There's Moore with quite more jabs thrown and landed.
And our WBO rules, similar. 10-point must system, no standing 8 count. 3 knockdown rule, yes. Saved by the bell, you can be saved by the bell in the last round, unlike our earlier fights, and only the referee here can stop the fight. So we're ready to go. Let's go up to ring announcer Michael Buffer for the pre-fight introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, main events, Rick Parker Productions TVKO and the undisputed, undefeated king of beer, Budweiser, present the featured bout of the evening. This contest is sanctioned by the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board, Boxing Commissioner Larry Hazard Sr., Chairman Jerry Gormley, Board members Gary Shaw and Richard Harrison, Deputy Commissioners Lawrence Wallace and R. Yogi Hiltner. Representing the World Boxing Organization as supervisor at ringside, Alberto Aleman. Physicians in attendance, Dr. Charles Wilson, Dr. Earl Shaw, and Dr. Eric Wormser. Counting for the knockdown seconds, alternate referee Tony Perez, and the timekeeper is Roosevelt Gilbert. The scoring for this bout will be done by 3 judges using the 10-point must system. They are Cesar Ramos, Gerald Maltz, and John Stewart. And when the bell rings, the man in charge of all the action, referee Joe O'Neill. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from Donald J. Trump's Trump Taj Mahal here on the boardwalk in Atlantic City, New Jersey, let's get ready to rumble! 12 rounds of boxing for the vacant WBO World Heavyweight title. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the Kronk Gold colors, and weighing in at 217 pounds, he's from the Motor City, Detroit, Michigan. He brings a professional record of 28-0, 26 knockouts to his credit. He's the former WBO light heavyweight champion and ranked #1 in the world in the heavyweight division by the WBO. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Moore. And across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner, his opponent wearing the black trunks with silver trim. He weighs 224 1/4 pounds. From Westchester, Pennsylvania. His professional record, 27-8, and 24 of his 27 victories are by KO. And last November, he proved that the smoke is no joke. Ranked #2 by the WBO. Ladies and gentlemen, smoking Bert Cooper.
Trunk's a little high, Bert, so I'll decide what a low blow is. They come to see you fight, not me referee. We understand that? I want your best. Shake hands and come out boxing. Good luck.
So Cooper, the only man to knock down Evander Holyfield. Been in those 7 championship rounds against Holyfield before losing. Michael Moore, more experienced, but Moore says he's been sleeping, and drinking his opponent. So he's focused on Bert Cooper. So here we go. Scheduled for 12. Do you think we'll go anywhere near that? Cooper hoping to prove that it was not a fluke against Evander Holyfield. The left hand. Cooper has Moore up against the ropes. The body shot, the right hand. Moore blocking one right, then he takes him.
And he's hurt.
And
Michael Moore is out on his face.
Michael Moore.
That fight is over if Joe O'Neill doesn't give him a count right here. But Michael Moore looks like he's out cold on his feet.
Now Joe O'Neill sends Cooper over to continue the count.
That's right. By virtue of Cooper not going to the neutral corner, the count was stopped and gave Moore a few extra seconds.
A long
straight right hand.
Michael Moore. Bert Cooper goes after him. Moore went down at the hands of Bigfoot Martin before he got up to win that fight. But in the surprise here, Cooper got him down in the first round.
But he just hurt Cooper with a short little left hand himself.
Crowd on its feet. What a first round. Now they're standing head to head. Moore digging in a body shot. Cooper responds with a couple of his own.
Cooper goes down. Out. He is stretched out. His mouthpiece came flying out. Got caught with a right hook. This is Michael Moore's trademark, fighting back, but Bert Cooper is asking
his mouthpiece.
That's right, he's asking Joe O'Neill for his mouthpiece, and he doesn't put it back in.
Both men down in the first round. And Cooper absorbing more punishment. And more. All over him again. Oh, and Cooper. How was he able to stand?
Just some vicious body shots by Michael Moore landed, and great hooks to the head.
Cooper about to go again. And still 27 seconds remain. And Cooper trying to fight back. Cooper without the mouthpiece. Trying to survive the round. And now a timeout is called. Waiting for a lull in the action for the mouthpiece.
I'm surprised Joe O'Neill took that long to put the mouthpiece back in, because when it was out, he was right near the corner. Should have administered the mouthpiece back 30 seconds ago.
So Cooper gets a breather. What an eventful first round this has been, with both men knocked down and both nearly out. Final seconds of the round, and Cooper has more hurt again. And that's it for the round, and the crowd on his feet. We'll take a look at Michael Moore going down first, Joe. Even though the count was stopped for a neutral corner,
That's right.
I don't believe he would have been counted out, Joe.
It started out with a couple of body shots. You're right about that, because he did get up in time, but it looked like he wasn't. Right hand off the temple, two right hands.
rights.
That's the one that really stunned him. His legs are coming off the ground. His hands are dropped. His back is turned. I mean, those are all the telltale signs of a guy that's not going to keep on fighting. And now here comes Cooper going down. This is the reverse. Bingo. Left hand down, right hook over the top. Two of them, as a matter of fact. Mouthpiece comes out. Cooper looks like he's dead. And, of course, gets back up and recoups and makes a great assault at the end of the round. So what a wild first round.
I'm glad Riddick Bowe's scoring this one, not me.
I think Riddick's glad he's sitting here watching this one. Sure does.
Start the second round. Cooper immediately tags Moore.
Well, obviously, Cooper, the punches that he got hit with were those two right hooks, and he's continuing to drop his left hand. He's got to keep those up.
Body shot from Moore. With the left hand. Moore. And Cooper goes back at him. What a heavyweight brawl this is. Heads are close together. Warned by referee Joe O'Neill. Watching heads touching each other. Always dangerous. Oh. Moore landing the body shot, then the uppercut. And now Cooper fighting out of it. Body shot from Moore. And Cooper responds. Tit for tat here in the second. Cooper now has dropped Holyfield and Moore. Impressive notches on his belt, should he get one. Now he hurts Moore again with the right hand. Another right. And Moore up against the ropes.
Michael Moore keeping his hands up real high on his chin, though, and really he's smothering a lot of those punches. They're hard and they're having effect, but he's not taking clean shots off the chin.
Cooper would be smart to work the body.
Well, Cooper and Moore, every time Moore throws that right hook to the body, he never misses it.
There's the body shot. Tries an uppercut. Joe O'Neill says bring him up. Thought the body shot was low. Cooper seemed to agree inside of a minute remaining in the second round. Moore digs in the body shot. Cooper with the right hook and the uppercut. Old-fashioned heavyweight war. Good body shot from Cooper.
That's right. Cooper's doing what he should do and has to do, and that's answer back every punch Moore throws.
And
but
try
right
to
now,
bring those hands down, Joe.
That's right. But right now, Cooper's actually a little bit busier on the inside right now with his body shots.
A little patty cake going on here. The waning seconds of the second round.
Well, those are little shots.
Cooper with the right hook.
Little shot thrown by Moore to set up big
hook
ones.
from Moore to respond.
See what I mean about those little shots Moore will throw to set up those big shots.
And then Cooper back to the body of Moore. And Cooper talking at Moore as the round ends.
in the water.
You got it right here. There you go, baby.
Take the time and pick the shot. He right there for you. Stay on you. You shoot him over there. Slip, walk your way to him. Pick the shot. Walk him down and pick the shot. Them body shot hurt. You feel him getting a little weak? Okay. Just like Ramsey Hassan.
Right here, Chabin. Right there. Bucket right in front of you, son.
You gotta hit him.
Chabin. Manuel, Vaseline. That's right. Don't worry about that.
All right, second shot.
Okay. Okay.
As we start the third round, we'll be bringing in Riddick Bowe for his comments in just a moment. But this has been something for the first two. Michael Moore in the gold Kronk trunks, Bert Cooper in the black, fighting for the vacant WBO heavyweight championship belt. Cooper with the combination and another combination, and he has Moore down again. This time Cooper went to the neutral corner. Here we go. 2 knockdowns to 1 in favor of Bert Cooper. Riddick Bowe, what do you think so far?
Well, I think Moore shouldn't be on the ropes. He should try to utilize his left hand a little bit more, or his right hand, and just keep Cooper in the middle of the ring. He's really effective when he's laying on the ropes.
Did the number of knockdowns surprise you?
Oh, very much so. Moore's a big puncher, but I don't really think he takes a good punch.
Now Joe O'Neill warning Bert Cooper to keep the punches up. It's obvious in the last 2 fights that Cooper's been able to knock down his opponents, and that Moore has been knocked down.
Moore should be boxing a little bit more at this particular point.
Now he knocks out the mouthpiece again for the second time. Cooper's mouthpiece is on the canvas.
And this has been a trademark of Moore against Everett Bigfoot Martin. When he got knocked down, came back and fought brilliantly against Alex Stewart. Got stunned in the second round, came back to knock out Alex Stewart. So Michael Moore is not about to quit because he's getting knocked down or hurt.
Now a timeout to get the mouthpiece taken care of.
But I agree with Riddick Bowe saying that Michael Moore should be off the ropes. It's something we pointed out at the beginning of the fight.
And look at the blood from the right eye of Bert Cooper.
Of course, Tony Ayala Sr. in Moore's corner is telling him to use the ring more.
It's turned into a free-for-all here. Now they slow down. Approximately 35 seconds remaining in the round. A cut opened up to the right of the right eye of Bert Cooper. Moore has been down twice. Cooper once. The uppercut from Moore.
Well, the farther apart Cooper's hands get, the more easily Michael Moore is going to slide in those uppercuts, and that's really where he does his most damage on the inside.
Michael Moore needs to start putting combinations together. He's throwing one shot at a time. Cooper can see him coming, so therefore he's able to cover up.
And you're right about Moore. You're right about Moore not being busy because Bert Cooper has got a nasty cut in his right eye. And luckily he's got Eddie Aliano in his corner.
If I was Michael Moore, I would take full advantage of that. That would be my mark to hit.
I wonder if that was a headbutt or a punch that opened up that cut, because their heads are awfully close together, Joe.
All right, here we go with the knockdown. Here's Bert just starting to unload on Michael Moore. And look at the short, straight right hands he's turning over, landing right on the button. And Moore actually just goes down from the barrage of punches. Tries to pull himself up and slips off it. Here we go, another angle. Left hook, right hand. Keeps going back and forth, the same combination. Left, right, till finally he beats him down.
If Moore should win this fight, they should take him back to the gym and teach him how to slip. Get under some of them shots. He's standing too straight up.
And you're echoing exactly what Emmanuel Stewart told Michael Moore to do before he came out for that round in which he was knocked down. He told him he has to slip and slide a lot more and get off the ropes, and he wasn't doing it.
And I think he's waiting just a bit too much for Cooper.
That's right. Well, maybe he thinks Cooper's going to shoot some steam off and he'll be able to turn it on later on, but not at this rate.
Here we go for the 4th round.
If you keep taking shots like that, he won't be around.
Exactly.
Bert Cooper in the black trunks, Michael Moore in the gold. Moore has been down twice, Cooper once. Looks like they have the cut on the right eye under control for the time being. The heads perilously close together once again.
Well, it's starting to bleed just a little bit, but he's got Eddie Aliano in his corner, who's one of the best cut men in the business.
Cooper trying the uppercut. Head to head along the ropes.
Moore goes right back to the rope. Wrong place for him to be.
Well, I'm wondering if his legs just can't get him out of the way, or this is his game plan. This is where he wants to be.
I fought Cooper, and Cooper's so strong on the inside. The first round, he kept me on the ropes. He has to get off the ropes to beat Cooper.
Right. Of course, if I'm not mistaken, you got off the ropes, center of the ring, and landed a nice 1-2 and stopped him. Memory serves me right.
The head's touching on the inside and also touching in the area of where the cut is by Cooper's right eye.
And Cooper's right eye is starting to open up a lot more. And see, this is what Michael Moore should do. At least try to get off the ropes and spin out to the middle of the ring where he can use a little of his reach.
See, the blood has gone off of Cooper's eye and onto Moore's head as a result of them constantly touching heads. It's also on the shoulder of Michael Moore midway through the 4th round. And Moore continues to live on the ropes.
Good body shot to the liver, which really backed Bert Cooper off for a second there.
Oh! And Cooper lands again.
Wow.
And his mouthpiece is falling out. Tries to push it back in with his glove.
Moore landed some great shots to the body, a left hand over the top, and Cooper snuck in a counter right hand, which buzzed Moore. So this is a real back and forth fight here in this round.
Moore's taking a big chance. He's on the inside. He might get a headbutt and bleed, get a cut or something. I just think he should box a little bit more now.
Well, like you said, it may be the fact that he can't get off the ropes, that Bert Cooper is so strong early on in these rounds that he just won't let him off the. But it looks like he could spin off if he wanted to and get out into the middle of the ring.
Yeah, because it doesn't look like he's applying that much pressure. He's just in front of him.
That's right.
Is Moore hoping that he can tire Cooper out? That's why he's employing the strategy as well, try to get into the later rounds.
Looks like it.
A couple of right hands from Moore. Final seconds of the 4th round.
My time. Hold the time.
Okay.
Give me the water. Let me see what you got. Give me the water.
Okay, take it away, Eddie.
Right there, butter jam.
Huh?
Get
Give me the water.
Okay. Stay down.
Give me the water.
Give me the water. Stay down. And hit it.
All right, let's take a look at Riddick Bowe's scorecard. Riddick, how have you scored it?
I have Cooper ahead by 2 points, 38-40.
Like a couple of 10-10 rounds in there.
Yeah, I have the last round even.
Push him. When you push him off, lead back with the right jab right away. You don't have to worry about getting caught with the right hand if you do that, because your right hand will beat to him to the punch first. Lead with the right jab as soon as you push him off, okay? Take this ball.
Pushing you. Nail him. As soon as he pushing you with both hands, so he can't punch you.
Come back with the
That's right. That's right. You got him, baby. As soon as he push you with both hands.
Push him around this round. Push him around this round.
Here we go for the 5th round. Most of Moore's fights have ended in 4 or less. If this one had done so, he would have been the loser. Here we go. He's been down twice, and we're into the 5th round.
And here goes Moore getting backed up automatically when his corner told him to use that right jab and stay on the outside a little bit more. He's not listening to Emmanuel Stewart.
Right eye continues to bleed from Bert Cooper. And the head stayed perilously close. It's dangerous.
But this is the type of fight I have a feeling Michael Moore likes. He likes the grind on the inside. He doesn't like that, but
he's taking the price.
I have a feeling that he feels that eventually Cooper's going to wear down a little bit and he's going to really be able to open up. But at this point, it's really not working for him.
He continues to use the strategy. Backed up against the ropes, fighting from there, landing. Lands with the left hook. Cooper was the one asking for the water between rounds. I wonder if that's what Moore's trying to do, wear him down.
Get him up, Bert. Get him up.
Cooper's starting to sound like a tennis player as he hits his shots.
That eye is looking real nasty on. Oh, great hand by
Cooper. Midway through the 5th round. And the body shots a little bit low from Cooper, wanting to keep him up. The eye looking ugly, as you said, bloody. Heads stay together. A real Donnybrook here tonight. Oh, good right hand and then the left for Moore. It started with the right, and now Moore has Cooper up against the ropes. Oh, but down he goes.
Doesn't look like he's going to get up. He's shaking his head no. 9. Amazing.
He got up at 9.
Sure. Tell you,
it's over.
That's it.
Michael Moore, the WBO heavyweight champion. In fact, the first southpaw to ever win a heavyweight championship.
Exactly right. And it paid off for him. He had a lot of patience sitting in the corner there, and those punches finally caught up to Cooper. He opened them up and came out with some big shots, and that was it. Beautiful right hook.
It all started with a right, and then look for an uppercut when we show you the replays. And Holyfield proved that Cooper was vulnerable to an uppercut, and Moore showed it again here tonight. Both men down twice in the fight into the 5th round, but Cooper finally going down for the count.
Here we go back to that corner where this knockout happened. Michael Moore started off with that right hook, lit him up with that left hand, 2 or 3 more behind it, puts him up against the ropes, and there he goes. He's starting to let it all cut loose. Left hand, right uppercut, and that was it. That last left hand was really insignificant because he was already out on his way down. Here we go. We got another overhead look at this. Moore starts off with a chopping left hand, or right hand, left uppercut, whips one over to the air. Cooper gets his hand up, sneaks a little short left and a right in there. Doesn't land solidly with that, but here comes this right uppercut.
This is
bingo. That's the one that picks his head off, and boom. Chops it right down with that left hand. That was picture perfect. Bring the head up with the uppercut, slice it off with the left hand. And that was a beautiful shot by Michael Moore.
Riddick Bowe, your thoughts on what just transpired here?
I think Michael Moore showed a lot of patience. He was taking a pounding there for a second, but he was able to withstand the storm and come back. I'm surprised.
I know you are, and it's interesting because you were saying that as he holds his WBO championship belt and stands up on the ropes to brandish it for the crowd, you were saying you didn't like his strategy. Apparently, he must have felt or known that eventually it pay off for him.
Well, as he hit Cooper with the last combination, I started to say that he should jump on him right now, and as I was getting ready to say it, he did it.
Yeah. Wow, do we have some action here tonight with 4 knockdowns in less than 5 rounds.
All right.
He says he's all right, but just as he did with Holyfield, he had him in trouble, but Bert Cooper could not finish him off.
Michael Moore showed a lot of heart tonight.
And let's go to Michael Buffer for the official announcement.
Ladies and gentlemen, before I give the official time, how about a round of applause for 2 heavyweights here at the Trump Taj Mahal that showed us what heavyweight action is all about. Bert Cooper and Michael Moore. Let's hear it. The official time, referee Joe O'Neill stops the contest at 2 minutes and 21 seconds of round number 5. The winner by TKO, and now the WBO heavyweight champion of the world, Michael Moore.
So at 2:21 of the 5th round, after knocking Bert Cooper down for the 2nd time, you heard Joe O'Neill say okay, and Cooper kind of nodded yes, and then he said, "Are you sure?" And Cooper nodded yes a 2nd time, and then Joe O'Neill just saw something in Cooper's eyes and waved it off, that it was a good call. That was it. Let's go to Joe Goosen, who's with the champion.
All right, I'm here with Michael Moore, the new WBO heavyweight champion of the world. First off, how does it feel to be world champ, Michael?
Feels good. It's going to sink in later. First of all, I want to thank God, my Lord, my Savior. Chief Knox, I did it, man. All the Detroit. Fucking right, man. It's over with.
All right, now let me ask you something, Michael. You had a strategy of sitting on the ropes. I can't believe that was a Manuel Stewart strategy for you to sit on the ropes. Well, I know, and I was commenting on that during the broadcast. Why were you doing it? I have some feelings why you were, but I want to hear it from you.
Because I can see shots better, and I see him on the outside picking my shots, and I came through. Bert's a tough guy. Take your hat off to Mr. Cooper. It was a good fight. He had me hurt a couple times, but I came right back.
Now, it was your strategy. Did you think your strategy was failing you when you got knocked down in the first round? And I said, did you think your strategy was failing you when you got knocked down and were taking some good shots on the ropes?
I couldn't take anything away from Bert. I mean, he come out to try to fight, and I was just the strongest. Thank the Lord, my Savior, boy. He came through.
What were you thinking when you got knocked down in that first round? Were you aware of what was going on, or were you on Queer Street for a minute there?
Nah, I guess I was hurt a little, but this is boxing. You're going to get hurt. I mean, I went down, sign of a good fighter, come right back up and win the fight.
Do you feel all the confidence in the world in yourself now as a heavyweight? Does this prove to you that you beat a man that took Evander Holyfield 7 rounds to knock out, took you 5, and a man that had time to train for you? Do you feel confident in yourself?
I feel confidence. I always had confidence in myself because I'm a strong-minded person. Some water, please. And I just went in there and I did it.
All right, I'm sure.
I like to thank all the police department back in Detroit. That's what this badge was for on my shorts. Chief Knox, I did it, and everyone else. Bert was a tough fucking guy, man. Excellent.
All right, very well put. And Manuel, good luck to you in the future. Michael, congratulations. Back to Len ringside.
Well, maybe well put, not necessarily the king's language. I'm always curious about a guy who thanks the Lord on one hand and then describes the action in the other way. But he's the champion. It's his night. All right, let's take a look at some of the action from the fight. Michael Moore went down twice. This is the first time. First round, Bert Cooper came in after him. The rights were the damaging ones. That was one of them. That was the second one. And you see the knees buckling. And these other punches are kind of frosting because what did it with those earlier right hands. This was in the first round. Of course, also in the first round, Cooper went down. Now this is the 5th round. And it all started with a right hand from Michael Moore. And the most damaging blow will be a right uppercut. Holyfield scored with, oh, that was it right there. The right uppercut from Michael Moore. Our CompuBox friends say that there were 521 total punches in the fight. And of those 521, only 74 were jabs. The rest of them were power punches. So that's the kind of brawl we had here this evening. And now Joe Goosen back in the ring with the loser, Bert Cooper.
I'm here with Bert Cooper. Yes, he came up on the short end of the stick again, but once again, Bert Cooper proved that he belongs with the top-notch heavyweights. Bert, you came a hair short again of becoming the world champion. It happened against Evander Holyfield in Atlanta in 7. Now here with Michael Moore, you had him seemingly down and out. How do you feel after that?
Well, I don't feel too bad. I thank the good Lord for giving me the chance again. He's a good fighter. He came game or whatever, but I was ready and stuff. But he was, because he was a better man tonight. I can't take no away from him. He's a better man tonight.
Now, you had him now. You have to be a little disappointed that you didn't have him finished in that round. Why couldn't you finish him in that first round?
Well, I don't know.
I just
backed up.
You tried your best and you backed up and you couldn't finish him there. Where do you go from here, Michael? Or Bert, you've tried, your hand at the world title now a couple times. Are you going to continue to in the heavyweight division?
Yes, I am. Oh no, there's no way I can get back down to cruiserweight or light heavy. That's dead. But right now, you have to talk to my promoter about the near future.
Were you as good a shape as you wanted to be for this fight? I know you went to training camp. Do you feel you were as in good a shape as you could have been for this fight?
Yeah, I was. I thought I was gonna come in a little lighter, but I didn't. But I'm not mad. I put up a good fight. He did too. But I'll come back real soon. Real soon.
One last thing. I'm just going to go back to the first round again. Here you had Michael Moore down. You went to the wrong corner. It took a few more seconds for them to send you to the neutral corner. Are you going to reflect back on that and maybe kick yourself in the pants a little bit for going to the wrong corner?
I gotta pick up what I didn't left off. Okay. All right, man. Okay. But I'll be game next time.
All right. Looking forward to seeing you again, Bert. You're always an exciting person when you're in that ring, and good luck to you in the future. All right. Len, I'm going to throw it back to you ringside here after an exciting fight. It was one of a kind, and hope to see Bert back in action again here on TVKO.
Thank you, Joe. And two interesting points to bring up. First of all, I don't know who would want to fight Bert Cooper again. I mean, you saw how he gave Holyfield a hard time, how he knocked Michael Moorer down twice, and the bit of controversy about not going to the neutral corner. The count was stopped at about the point of 5 or 6 from Joe O'Neill. O'Neill then took a couple of seconds to motion Bert Cooper to a neutral corner and then continued the count. I felt all along that Moorer was back up. He was ready to go. I don't think that cost him the fight, but there may be a couple of fans who are there who will feel long count if he had not gone to the neutral corner. But in my heart, I really think that Moorer was back up and ready to go. So Michael Moorer goes to 29-0, 7-0 as a heavyweight, but what a battle. And of course, as we mentioned earlier, that the people in boxing love to look at the negatives. Well, Michael Moorer was down by Bigfoot Martin, but he came back to win. And now down twice to Bert Cooper before finally eliminating him in the 5th round on his second knockdown. So it really was a fun Donnybrook and another good night of boxing here on TVKO, and I'm glad you could be with us. So for Joe Goostin and Riddick Bowe, who was with us, I'm Len Berman. Thanks for being with us at the Taj. Let's go back to our host now, Cambrell Marshall.
Thank you very much, Len Berman, and certainly it changes the plans of Bert Cooper drastically. He had hoped, of course, to win this fight and go on and get a rematch with Evander Holyfield. Certainly, a lot of people might have thought that, hey, being able to knock Evander down after 3 days of working out, maybe he could do something a little bit more damaging. That is not going to be the case. An interesting night of fights. We begin with fireworks. We end with fireworks. Gerald McClellan started the evening off, and he came out smoking. His nickname was Not Smoking, but he was a guy who came out in 45 seconds, knocking out Carl Sullivan in the first round. So Gerald McClellan runs his record to 25-2, 23 by knockouts. Again, his manager, Emmanuel Stewart, has said that this guy is going to be one of the main guys to focus on in the middleweight ranks. Now on to the junior welterweight ranks, where Livingstone Bramble came up with a split decision win over Anthony Stevens. And then, of course, the main event of the evening, Michael Moorer winning the vacated WBO heavyweight championship with a knockout 221 in the 5th round over smoking Bert Cooper. So an exciting evening of boxing here on TVKO once again. Now let's take a little time out and bring you up to date on some of the other action going on in the world of sports beginning in June, but there's some other events we'd like to call your attention to in June. Defending his IBF junior welterweight title against Pernell Whitaker, and a heavyweight bout featuring Riddick Bowe against Pierre Kutzer. That's live Saturday, July 18th, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific. Now also on USA Network, you'll have a rebroadcast of Ray Mercer's versus Larry Holmes. And if you missed the TVKO February fight of the month, don't worry, because USA will be re-airing it on Thursday, June 18th at 8 Eastern and Pacific. You can see how Larry Holmes earned his shot at Evander Holyfield's title. It's going to be here before we know it. When I say it, I'm talking about the heavyweight showdown in Las Vegas on June 19th. That's when Larry Holmes, the former champion, steps into the ring to take on the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, Evander Holyfield. And former champion Larry Holmes is very clear he hopes to use his experience and be able to take that championship belt from Evander.
The School of Hard Knocks.
Be on June 19th. We hope you'll join us then. Another bargain I want to bring to your attention. I've done it before. 99, not just another big heavyweight championship fight. It is full of intrigue. What can Evander Holyfield gain by beating Larry Holmes? The same is true for Larry Holmes. He gets this opportunity to step in and try to win the heavyweight championship. It seems to be a win-win situation for Larry Holmes. And of course, Evander Holyfield continues to battle for the kind of respect that he feels has eluded him so far as a heavyweight champion. Many questions and angles about the Holyfield-Holmes matchup. Let's take a little time out now and just watch. We have an extended show to go ahead and look at the Holyfield-Holmes matchup, the in-depth story.
Evander is the best. He'll go in as the undefeated, undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. And that night, Evander Holyfield will come out as the undefeated, undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, Evander Holyfield. You're going to see a hell of a fight June 19th. See it on television, TVKO.
It'll be June 1992 when we fight. It won't be June 78. He's in the wrong year, and he's in the wrong era. He's messing with the wrong man. And usually when you bite off more than you can chew, you usually get choked.
Now Holyfield coming on. A strong left from Holyfield against Foreman. And a right. And Holyfield landing inside. One punch after another. He's got Foreman wobbling.
I thought it was a brilliant tactical fight by Evander against George Foreman. His movement, his getting in and out, picking his shots, unloading in the 7th round with 20 consecutive blows was a spectacular performance.
Holyfield home, it's probably the most outstanding boxing match in the history of the sport because you're pitting the past against the present. And anything can happen when two boxers get into the ring. And very seldom you meet one that still got the endurance and quickness from the past as home. It's going to be the most exciting fight. I'm going to buy 12 boxes of popcorn, 17 hot dogs. Oh, I'm going to have cotton candy. It's going to be a treat.
Evander Holyfield, great champion. Look at that physique, strong. But where is he making a mistake? Look where his hands at. He cannot fight me with his hands like that. This is me. If you didn't notice. Ray Mercer. As you see extended there, that is called the Holmes camera. That will go all night long. This man, I presume, takes a better shot than you. So if I hit you with that, then good night, Irene. June 19th, season 5. Be there. In the new heavyweight champion of the world.
I thought it was a great performance. I mean, he was so loose in the ring. That was the main thing that impressed me. I mean, he was talking to the camera guy during the fight. He just was having fun in there.
Holmes is talking to our camera. He says, I'm not Tommy Morrison.
And he was working too. I mean, he landed like 70% of his punches. I don't care if you're fighting your mother. To land 70% of your punches is very impressive.
I wasn't certain that Larry could beat Mercer. I thought that he would, that he could. I wasn't certain of it. But let me tell you, as I stand here today, I am absolutely certain, without any kind of doubt, that the next heavyweight champion of the world will be Larry Holmes.
Good right hand and Bay is down.
I make it a very interesting matchup, a heck of a fight. I don't think Holyfield's going to get past Larry's left hand. And I think Larry is going to, per se, win recognition, win the title, and then we're going to have a lot of fun later on.
I think it's a fight that certainly causes a lot of controversy, and like I say, people love comebacks, and I think Larry Holmes gained a lot of fans when he come back and surprised everybody against Mercer. So it's gonna be an exciting thing for me. It's gonna be an exciting thing for you, and it's gonna be exciting for anybody that's associated with the sport of boxing.
Well, the intrigue about the fight is that Larry Holmes made us at least semi-believers by his performance against Ray Mercer. And the other intriguing aspect is that we know Evander Holyfield, while he's a very good boxer, and I think vastly underrated, is not a huge puncher. That's what gives Larry Holmes, I think, a shot in this fight, because we know this much. He's a skillful man in the ring, and he's very crafty.
I think that Larry Holmes will be deafened by the ticking of his body clock, and that amid the noise, Evander Holyfield will score an 8th or 9th round technical knockout.
I think in Evander, you've got one of the top athletes in the world. Very, very well conditioned. He just does everything so well. And in Larry Holmes, I think you're talking about one of the greatest heavyweight champions of all time, who just does so many things well and to the point of being great. The left jab that he has may be the greatest jab in the history of the heavyweight division. So I think he's going to go back to the gym in between now and fight time. Going to hone whatever skills he has and take those skills into the ring against Evander, and that's why it's going to be a great fight.
TVKO. Holyfield landing inside.
He is championship boxing. Month after month.
Riddick Bowe, round knock.
rest of the round. So we know he does have good recuperative powers.
Holyfield rips another uppercut, and Cooper standing stock still. This could be it now. Only 15 seconds to go in the round. Not much time for Evander. Cooper staying right there. Target practice, but he's not going to get him. I don't think he's going to get him. Bill's Lane has seen enough.
Holmes is here not as a novelty like Foreman was a year ago, but he fought his way into this fight. And the intriguing thing is, you know, the old man has done it once. He's beat one of the so-called young lions, and, you know, can he take that next step?
I want to quote the man I regard as the greatest teacher and trainer of all time, Cus D'Amato. Cus had always said that when any great fighter is in the twilight of his career, he can get it together on one evening and look marvelous. I believe Holmes will look great against Holyfield. I think that'll be his evening, and therefore I think he'll win. I think it'll be a very competitive fight, but I think that if he does as I expect, I think he'll decisively beat Holyfield.
My prediction is that the woman that holds the card with the round number on it will be not bad.
My prediction?
A lot of people wrote right off Larry Holmes. I for no question of imagination, because he's a great champion. And as I'm saying now, Larry still can win the fight. It's a toss-up. It can go anyway. I just give Holyfield a edge because he'll be more active in the fight and he'll work more in the fight. And if he really wants the fight, he should win. But it's going to be a tough fight for him.
Probably Holyfield in a decision. I think Larry will be able to keep him at bay with the jab. So I think it's going to go the distance. Should be fun.
We can say what we want about Buster Douglas. Douglas didn't come prepared to fight, that's true. But what I liked about what Holyfield did was he took advantage of the big mistake that Douglas made. And more important than that, that was the first time we'd seen Holyfield show us good movement.
Holyfield Douglas. I think that was probably Evander's best performance. I mean, he looked really focused for that fight.
Larry Holmes, you know, has been very active, and he has fought some fairly worthy opponents on the way back. And I think that the left jab, the style is a big difference in all fights. And I think that in this particular fight, the style of Larry Holmes is going to be the type of style that's going to give Evander a lot of problems.
I think Holmes is going to beat Holyfield. I think you have a good chance. He's a legit heavyweight. You know what I'm saying? He's a legit heavyweight. He got the weight, he got the height, he got the reach. You know, he got the experience. Holyfield, you know, he just barely got over me. You know what I'm saying? By a hair. You know? But I don't know, I hope him the best. I wish him the best.
I think the thing that's intriguing about this fight is the fact of an older fighter and a younger fighter, and whether the older fighter can come back and still teach the young fighters some new tricks. And I think Larry Holmes can just pull it off.
He is a teacher. He's a good teacher. And in my grammar school years, when we had a good teacher, to show our appreciation, we would bring an apple. And with this apple, I do want to give to the best teacher.
It's your right to cheer for Evander Holyfield and root for him and pray for him. But it is, when the bell rings, it's my right to knock his head off.
It's going to be a great fight, and you're going to really see history made. You're going to see a 42-year-old man regain his championship when people thought that was impossible. And I look forward to this fight, and I look forward to the vindication, in effect, of Larry Holmes.
They say I'm old and I'm gray, and I had my day, but they haven't seen nothing yet. I'm the Eastern Assassin, and I'm back.
I think there's a tendency to believe out there that Holyfield, anytime Holyfield steps in the ring, an upset can happen, and I think that's probably the case right now.
Even at 42, Larry Holmes has a hell of a shot on June 19th. That's because, A, I don't think Evander Holyfield hits hard enough to take him out. B, you can't miss Evander Holyfield. Because of A and B, C, Larry Holmes believes he's going to win. That kind of confidence that Holmes has usually means he's going to be in the fight. To make a prediction flat out who's going to win, I really can't. I think it's that close.
That's going to be a tough fight. I like both of the guys, but I would have, I would have to go. If I had anybody to choose, I would say may the best man win.
I can only tell you, give you the strong points of both fighters. I think Larry Holmes' strong point is his ability to box. His ability to use their left hand, to work off their left hand. Holyfield, his strong points, he had power in both hands, left hook and right hand. But his strong points is to get inside.
If Evander comes in with a clear mind and a good attitude, I think he would win, because when he puts his mind to something, he goes in there and establishes what he has to do and gets it over with.
So John Heyman, who do you like in the big fight?
I'll tell you, Joe Bolster, I wish there wasn't going to be a fight. I can't believe in this day and age, two grown men can't settle their differences amicably without resorting to violence.
It is a shame. I think it was Nostradamus who predicted that the end of the world would begin in a parking lot at Caesar's Palace.
I picked a Holyfield knockout within 5 rounds because Holyfield's a younger guy, he's stronger, and he's a smart technician.
Well, it's always dramatic when you have an old champ like Larry Holmes and a proud guy who, does not want to quit and will fight, to the last ounce of whatever strength he has, trying to regain his title. And you know that Larry's been burning ever since the Spinks fight. I think he thinks that Evander Holyfield is just another Michael Spinks. So that makes it dramatic because it's almost his way of redeeming or maybe rewriting history.
What I will tell you is this, that I really feel it's going to be a lot more exciting fight than people may think, as Holmes proved against Mercer. And I think the confidence level is going to be 50% higher for Holmes.
To his right, say he wants him in there. He said, come on. And he's nailing Mercer with right hands and uppercuts. And Mercer just stands in there and takes them.
There's no way Larry Holmes will be as accurate against Holyfield as he was against Mercer, because you're talking about two different opponents opposite him. Mercer did not move. He was a stationary target from the waist up. Evander's very elusive, head side to side, bobbing and weaving constantly. Very hard for George Foreman to hit. Will be very hard for Larry Holmes to hit.
Larry Holmes' strengths are his heart and his will. He's never been a quitter, and he'll be in there giving 100% of what he has. His jab is one of the best.
Evander Holyfield's strength is that he technically, from an offensive standpoint, he might be the best in boxing today. He throws more punches and throws more punches well than anybody in boxing. He has an excellent jab, a very good hook, a good straight right hand, one of the best uppercuts in boxing, and he will go to the body. From an offensive standpoint, there is almost nothing to criticize in Evander Holyfield. That is his strength.
The fighters of this era don't know how to fight because they have no experience in a ring. And that's the difference. And that's why a man like Larry Holmes can get into the ring today and fight a younger fighter because he knows more than that fighter will ever know.
I'm the best at this time. And on June the 19th, if you want to see what's going to happen to Larry Holmes, be there and get TVKO.
TVKO. Holyfield landing inside.
40-plus guy coming along, fighting for the heavyweight championship. And a lot of people giving him a chance also to win.
Well, the fact that Holmes really brought himself up to the peak that he did, it was a tough fight against Mercer. He went the entire 12 rounds and deserved the decision. I think that's what the public is interested in seeing, if Holmes can do it again.
He's done it for 6. On the right hand, and the uppercut from Holmes.
After seeing the Holmes-Mercer fight, I have to think that maybe Holmes could pull out one more big win like that. My common sense tells me it's going to be Holyfield, but my heart tells me Larry Holmes got one more big win.
At this point, the Larry Holmes that we see, his strengths are that he still has the good jab and that he is very clever and that he is now filled with confidence.
Holmes is talking to our camera. says, I'm not Tommy Morrison. He's carrying out his own commentary.
What he did in the Mercer fight, standing there and looking at the camera and playing to the camera while he's in a corner with Ray Mercer trying to hit him, shows me that the bravado and the confidence that Larry Holmes always had is back and back in a big way.
People love to see a former champion come back and win the title. Holmes had a lot of fun in the ring that night with Ray Mercer, and they want to see if he can indeed do that to Evander Holyfield.
Evander has the power to knock out almost anybody on an accumulated punch basis. 99% of knockouts are the product of accumulated punishment rather than one great punch, and that's the way Evander finishes people if he's going to do so. He also knocks people out, as was I think the case against Cooper, largely by demonstrating to them that his will is too great for him to lose.
Now Holyfield rips another uppercut, and Cooper standing stock still. This could be it now. Only 15 seconds to go in the round. Not much time for Evander. Cooper staying right there. Target practice, but he's not going to get him. I don't think he's going to get him. Mills Lane has seen enough. Mills Lane stops the fight.
Holyfield is a very fast fighter for a heavyweight. He's got very good hand speed. He's got a very good chin. The Bert Cooper fight doesn't disprove that. He took some pretty good shots from Foreman. He's taken good shots his whole career. When he gets hit, he fights back.
And Foreman on the attack in the 7th round. Well, watch him come back. Holyfield taking that little bit of a rest we talked about. Let's see if he gathers himself and comes back.
You can see he was poising himself to come back with a few hard shots, catching George with his hands down.
Holyfield has done it time and again against Michael Dokes and Alice Stewart. He'll take it, and all of a sudden he comes on.
Right, and he's making George waste a lot of punches. Instead of clinching, he's blocking punches. He's letting George throw punches and miss them. A lot of bouncing off the gloves of Holyfield as he lands.
And now Holyfield coming on. A strong left from Holyfield against Foreman. And a right. And Holyfield landing inside. One punch after another. He's got Foreman wobbling.
Don't underrate this here fight. This is going to be a great fight. We're going to win. We're going to win. We're going to beat Larry Holmes. But we're going to have to win with the best effort that Evander can put out. It's going to be a great fight, and you're going to see Evander Holyfield still undefeated, still undisputed champion of the world.
Larry Holmes has the exact tools necessary to defeat Evander Holyfield. And Evander Holyfield is a very, very good fighter, make no mistake about it, but he doesn't fight well backing up. And Larry has his best weapon is the left jab. So Evander's weakness plays to Larry's strength. And I look for Larry Holmes to knock out Evander Holyfield in the 7th round.
Just hoping to weather the storm, and he's down again.
Anytime the heavyweight championship's on the line, it's an event. I don't care who the two gentlemen are in the ring. It's been proven time and time again, when you least expect it, boxing can turn into the theater of the unexpected, which is what we saw on many occasions, and that may happen again June 19th.
Vander, as I would say, pack your lunch. It's going to be a long day for you. A long day not at the office, but in the workforce. And I don't know if you ever experienced work before, but you will on June the 19th. So be there. And by the way, don't forget to bring your belts, because you won't be going home with them. You'll be fired. And for all the viewers out there,